I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had.
Catelyn listens to the continuous pounding noise of the drums the musicians in the hall are playing. She is seated between Ryman Frey and Roose Bolton during the wedding feast. She remarks to herself how joyless this wedding is, and watches as Robb dances with several of the Frey maids and Edmure doting on his soon-to-be wife, Rosling. Catelyn becomes more wary when she learns that Olyvar, Perwyn and Alysandra Frey are all not in attendance at this wedding. She notices Merryt Frey trying to drink the Greatjon under the table, and finally Lord Walder Frey calls for the bedding. Robb does not participate as the Greatjon carries a weeping Roslyn to the bedchamber. Suddenly, things grow more ominous in the hall as Dacey Mormont goes up to Edwyn Frey and asks him if he wants to dance, but he pushes her away violently. The musicians begin to play a new song, which Catelyn recognises to her horror as The Rains of Castamere, and sees Edwyn leaving. She takes off after him, and when she grabs his arm, she feels the rings of chainmail beneath. Suddenly, it all makes sense to her. The Freys missing from the wedding, and Rosalind crying. The musicians turn out to be crossbowmen, and the wedding becomes a slaughter. Catelyn watches in horror as a crossbow bolt pierces Robb's shoulder, and another his leg, and he topples over. Small John throws a table over him to save him from 3 more bolts. Robin Flint is surrounded by Freys, their daggers rising and falling. Sir Wendell Manderley is felled by a quarrel through the mouth. Small John bludgeons Sir Raymond Frey across the face with a leg of mutton, but when he reaches for his sword belt, a crossbow bolt drives him to his knees. Lucas Blackwood is cut down by Sir Hostine Frey. One of the Vances is hamstrung by Black Walder as he wrestles with Sir Harris High. Crossbows take Donal Locke, Owen Norrie, and half a dozen more. Young Sir Benfrey Frey seizes Dacey Mormont by the arm, who smashes him in the face with a wine flagon. She runs for the door, but Sir Bryman comes through with Frey men-at-arms, sinking his axe into Dacey's stomach. Northmen begin pouring through the other door, and Catelyn takes them for a rescue for half a heartbeat, until one of them decapitates the Small John. Catelyn realises that she must try to intervene and save her son's life, and she sees a dagger on the floor and crawls towards it, determined to kill Lord Walder. Then Robb stumbles to his feet, an arrow in his chest in addition to the other 2. Lord Walder, who, in the midst of this slaughter, sits on his throne watching greedily, signals a halt to the music and mocks Robb. Catelyn grabs Jingle Bell Frey and puts a dagger to the half-wit's throat. She begs Walder to spare her son, trade a son for a son. But the old man says that's a grandson, and he was never much use. A man in dark armour and a pale pink cloak spotted with blood steps up to Robb, saying, "Jaime Lannister sends his regards," as he thrusts his longsword through Robb's heart and twists. Catelyn keeps her promise and slits the poor half-wit's throat, and then begins to laugh and shout, while someone says she's lost her wits. Someone else says, "Make an end," and she is grabbed from behind and feels steel drawn across her own throat.